Hello everyone, welcome to my Bible study. My name is Christian Holm and I shall have a Bible study with you today. The focus for this Bible study is the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 5 to 8. And I begin now right away with this Bible study. I begin with reading the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 5 to 8 first, and then after I have read it, I start to explain these verses. Okay, from verse 5 now and forward. And whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. But whenever you pray, go into your room and shut the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. When you are praying, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Okay, now I start to explain verse 5. I read it again. And whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. This means that the reason why you are praying is very important. Are you praying for the reason to be seen by other human beings and to receive praise from other human beings, or are you praying in secret for the reason to be seen by the Heavenly Father YeHoWaH and to receive praise, receive honor from him instead? This is the question. So you see here, first Yeshua starts to say, and whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites. Heads up. Here's a heads up, for here comes an explanation about a definition about who is a hypocrite. There are many definitions about who is a hypocrite, because you can be a hypocrite in many different ways. But here's one of the various definitions of a hypocrite. So when he says like this, and whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, it's a heads up, for now comes a definition, now comes an explanation about who is a hypocrite, and you don't want to be one of those. So you better listen carefully. For they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. So that is the definition. They love to stand inside of the synagogues or inside of the churches, and they love to stand in the street corners, in the town squares, for example. They love to stand in places where there are lots of other people. They want to be in public pray in public so that they can receive praise from other human beings in public. Oh, look, they are so holy. They are praying there in the synagogue or in the church. Oh, look here. They are so holy. They are so set apart. They are praying here in the street corners. Wow. And they receive honor and glory from human beings instead of seeking after to receive honor and glory from the only true God, the creator of the universe. Okay? And here comes the warning from Yeshua to such hypocrites. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. Because there are many ways to be an hypocrite. And there are many ways to do wrong. And here's one of those ways to do wrong. And you don't want to hear on Judgment Day, you have received your reward by human beings. You were seeking after honor from men, and you received it, and you have no reward in heaven to expect. You don't want to hear that on Judgment Day. You want to hear you have honor to expect. You have reward to expect to receive from the only true God in heaven, in the kingdom of heaven. So one of the ways you can gather up treasure in heaven is to give to the poor in secret, without blowing the trumpet, without bragging about it. Not telling it to other human beings. Another way is to pray in the secret, and a third way is to fast in the secret. And these three ways are the three most fundamental ways to gather up treasure in heaven. Three of the most fundamental ways to gather up treasure in heaven. Okay, so like about these hypocrites, Yeshua says, truly I tell you, they have received their reward. They have no reward in heaven to expect, because they received their reward from human beings. They received honor from men rather than receiving honor from God. Okay, and I continue. Verse number 6. But whenever you pray, go into your room and shut the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. The best way to pray secret prayer is to go into the forest, deep inside the forest, or deep into the desert, or deep into the wilderness, and pray secret prayer one-to-one with God. Only having Him and miles and miles and miles around you. There is no other human being. That's the most ideal, the most idealistic way to pray secret prayer. But lack of money to buy food, to transport yourself, by foot, to transport yourself by foot into this secret place in the forest. If you want to show us a place far into the wilderness, far away from closest civilization, of course that takes a lot of effort. So it's also possible for you to pray in your house. You can have a special room in your house, for example, somewhere in the middle of your house. So when when you go into that room and pray secret prayer, your neighbor doesn't see when you go into this room, and your neighbor will not hear you when you pray inside of this room. This is another way to pray secret prayer, either in the forest, in the wilderness, in the desert, or inside of a room that is for you and for is your secret place where you pray. And I live in a small apartment, so maybe my neighbors will hear me a little bit when I pray. But that is at least much better than compared to if I pray in the street corners or I pray in the church, because then even much more people will hear and see me. The key is to understand this. You strive in your heart. You do your wholehearted effort to make it as secret as possible. That is the point. Make it as secret as possible. Put in the effort, wholehearted effort, and make it as secret as possible. Use the means you have to make it as secret as possible. If you're a millionaire or a billionaire, you can afford to buy the best food and you can eat really well, then it's much easier to pray far into the wilderness. Okay, then you have money for the equipment and so on that you need to do that. Okay, I continue here. When you are praying, do not, verse number 7, when you are praying, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard because of their many words. This is self-explanatory. Do not use a lot of words. Do not repeat the same words again and again and again and think that God will hear you more just because you use a lot of words. It's not how it works. You can pray actually very short prayers, but you can pray these short prayers often. You can pray like 1 minute prayers, 1 minute secret prayers, a little bit here, a little bit here. You don't have to. And what is the most important for that moment to pray about? You don't have to pray for hours and hours and repeat the same words again and again and again, like many times. This is what in this time 2,000 years ago, this was what the Gentiles, the other peoples, the non-Jewish peoples, what they did. And there is also hypocrisy. So you don't need to do that. So again, verse 7 and verse 8. When you are praying, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard because of their many words. Verse 8. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. The Heavenly Father, YeHoWaH, He knows what you need. He knows all people's hearts. And He knows all things. He is all-knowing. He knows all people's hearts. He knows every single thought you have in your heart. He knows every single intention. He knows everything. And He knows all things. He knows when you're hungry. He knows when you need to have a car, but you don't afford to buy one. He knows everything. So even if you forget to mention things, it's very good to articulate your prayers and really be very detailed. I mean, do it roughly, be detailed in telling YeHoWaH about what you need. But if you forget to mention something, He knows what you need before you ask Him. Okay, I have to close it there. So it will not be more than 15 minutes, but below 15 minutes. Okay, thank you for today. Bye.